Good morning students and welcome back into the another session of CS02 Programming NC. As all of you knows that we have successfully completed with 1, 2, 3, 4 units, theory as well as practically. Now we are going to start with the last unit of this particular subject, that is unit number 5, which consists of two different sections. The title of section number 1 is Pointer with their relevant topics, as you can see onto the screen, and section number 2 is file handling with the relevant topics, as you can see onto the screen. Now this unit is very important, no doubt. Entire chapter is important for the university examination, but this chapter is specially very important for the next semester subject called Advanced C and Data Structure. So I hope all of you take this particular unit very seriously and try to focus on each and every theoretical as well as practical portion of this entire unit. So without wasting more time, let's start with the first section of this entire unit, that is pointer. As you can see onto the screen, in this section it contains the topic like introduction to pointer, use of pointer in dynamic programming, pointer to variable, pointer to array, pointer with array, pointer to structure, pointer within structure, and the last in section 1 is pointer to pointer. So in short, we can say that pointer is a concept which we are going to introduce. First we'll write a sample code using pointer, and then we'll reuse this concept into the previously discussed concept like array, structure, and pointer itself. No doubt in this particular section we are also going to have a look about how can we use looping control structure, decision making statement, variable declaration, and other topics into the pointer also. Even here I would like to convey one more thing. In unit number 3, that is library function, the topics are given like pointer and recursion, which we will also cover in this unit called unit number 5, section number 1, pointer. So let's first introduce that what is pointer. As per the expert's opinion, or we can say the theory which is written for the pointer, definition of the pointer is like this: pointer always points to the address, not to the value. Again, I am repeating my words. Pointer always points to the address, not to the value. What we are doing up till date, that means in our all previous practical session, whatever the programs that we have written, mainly we concern with the values which is stored as an input. We know that there is a one sequence of our subject. First we have to do input. Once the input is given, program perform the process, that is the second stage of our subject, and once the process gets completed, automatically an output will generated. We can say that this process is the intermediate stage in between the input and output. What I want to say is, if you execute the program, but if you will not give any of the input, output will not be generated. For generating the output, we need to give an input, then the process will be executed by the specific logical instruction set which is predefined by the developer, or you can say the programmer, and according to that, if everything is perfect, that means if there are no syntactical errors, then the output will be thrown onto the screen. During this process, right now we are dealing with values only, but after introducing the pointer and getting acquainted with the pointer, we'll learn that how can we deal with address instead of the values. So this entire short description makes the definition of pointer. This definition might varies into the book, but the concept remains same, that the concept is pointer always points to the address, not to the value. Because why this particular concept is given, that means why pointer is pointing to the address, not to the value. The reason is value might be fixed, that means it can be changed, but every time you have to go into the program and then you have to change the value. But instead of that, suppose you are taking the address, then on a specific address, any type of value or any value can be stored as an inputted value, which a controller, or you can say the compiler, takes from the memory registers for the processing purpose. Once the processing purpose is done, it throws that particular output onto the screen. So it is better to have an address instead of values. Now due to this word which I have already speak, pointer is little bit complicated concept to use in regular programming. Again I am repeating my words. Due to the definition, or you can say the theory of pointer, it is bit complicated to use into the regular programming. Expertism requires for using the pointer for making and writing a program using pointer itself. Now let's come into the syntactical part of using pointer. How can we use the pointer? So first, to use the pointer, we need to get acquainted with the one symbol which is called as asterisk, which you can see onto the screen right now. That can be used as a symbol for declaring any variable as a pointer variable. For example, suppose I am writing integer, it's a data type, then the symbol of pointer like asterisk, and then suppose I am giving a variable called ptr. Variable name can be taken any valid variable name as per the rules and regulation of programming in C. That rules and regulation I have already discussed in unit number 1, lecture number 3. Just repeat that lecture, you will see the rules and regulation of declaring variables. Here I am just simply telling you that here you have to declare any valid variable. So any variable we can take, even you can take your name as a variable name. Here I have taken a name called ptr. Instead of that, even you can take a, or any alphabet. So this is the way for declaring a pointer variable in programming in C. Now this is just a declaration of variable, a pointer variable. Now we have to use this particular pointer variable into the programming. Now when we declare any variable like this, automatically this program creates dynamic variable which is used into the dynamic programming. Now 100% you will get confused over here that what is dynamic programming. I am going to clear about dynamic programming very shortly. Before going ahead, again I am repeating my words. Whenever we declared any variable as a pointer variable, that variable is called as dynamic variable, which is used into the dynamic programming. Now there are two words, static and dynamic. Even this question might be important for university examination. Question may be asked like this: give the difference between static and dynamic programming. Here we'll bifurcate both of these very shortly. Number one, we'll write the concept of static and then we'll go for dynamic parallelly. So let me put a one space. How can we justify that this is a static? It can be justified as a static when there is a usage of simple variables are there, and when it could be called as dynamic when there is an usage of pointer or some topic like this, which we will discuss in future also, is called as dynamic. That means, again let me clear first bifurcation between these two. Whenever we are declaring a simple variables, it is called as static programming, static variable declaration. When we declare the same variable with the concept of pointer, it converts the entire program into the dynamic mode. Now obviously the question comes in our mind that what internally does? Just by writing integer pointer ptr, it converts the entire program into the dynamic format. What actually it internally done? My concern is what? 1 plus 1 is equals to always 2. If we write this particular program using static variable declaration, even it gives 2. And same, suppose you are writing with pointer, even it gives 2. Then why we are going for the complicated procedure? There is an internal difference for the same. Again I am repeating my words. Say for example 1 plus 1 is equals to 2. We are writing a program for this using static variable declaration. Obviously it gives 1 plus 1 is equals to 2. The same program, suppose we write using pointer, even 1 plus 1 is equals to 2 will be given. Then what is the exact difference? Why we should have to go for making a complicated matters? The difference is memory allocation. That means, suppose you go for simple variable declaration, it stores the entire inputted value into the local register of the system, local storage of the system, or you can say it simply use buffers. If you have a doubt about what is register and what is buffer, just go through the another subject called computer organization and architecture, or you can say the computer fundamental, which you are learning in this particular semester, it will be get very clear that what is buffer. But if you don't know, then it's a simple local buffer which doesn't have much importance into the system. While we are using about the dynamic programming using the concept of pointer, it store your value into the memory instead of storing it into the buffers. So the accuracy you will get more into the dynamic programming instead of using static programming. Next one is portability. Suppose we are discussing about this topic, then you will get more portability into the dynamic programming instead of using it into the static programming. That means, as I have already instructed you previously, while we are storing the values in simple variable, if we want to change any value, then we need to go every time into the program. If it is statically stored, we have to go into the program, and then we have to manually change the entire value, and then again we have to rerun the program. While into the dynamic programming, suppose we have stored the value into the pointer variable, during the execution of the program, we can easily change the internal value of variable which we have declared. Then the next is the speed, that is obviously the execution speed. No doubt, let me write first execution speed. Execution speed. No doubt we are writing just a program of 10 to 20 lines, 15 lines maximum. But professionally, whenever the developer designs the program, it was of thousands of or millions of line of program. At that particular time, suppose we used the advanced concept like pointer, then we can measure about the execution speed. Let me tell you very shortly. If we go for the static programming, the execution speed of the code might be low, while in dynamic programming, suppose we are using pointer, the execution speed is much better or faster than the static programming language. The last one is security. Data storage security is much better into the dynamic programming comparative to the static programming. Now, what does the security means? That is the loss of data due to the power fluctuation or some internal damage. It might possible that while you are working onto the system and power backups are not given, you are directly working with the computer and power fluctuation is there, your data which is stored inside the static variable get lost during the execution of the entire program. While The same program, suppose you have designed using the pointer and its concept, then the data security will be much better than the static programming language. So these are the few differences as per my point of view, which bifurcates the static as well as dynamic programming language. Now we have talked lots many things. Actually this subject is a subject of practical. We have to speak very less and we have to create many programs. But I think the theory session should be clear first before we go for the practical session. So now let's start with using pointer into the programming language. So for that, let me start the C. Open the new window. Just write down the basic library function, that is stdio.h, means standard input output.h. Second, console input output.h, main executable statement, opening and the closing bracket, which makes the structure of C. Then here I am first declaring an pointer variable like integer asterisk pointer, then CLRS here, printf, which displays one label onto the screen to inform user to enter their values, that is printf enter your value, scanf. This particular statement read the value from the user and store inside the system, that is scanf %d and %ptr. Once the value get read and stored inside the variable, now it's time to print onto the screen, that means printf %d with one label, that is your value is comma the pointer variable, or you can say the variable that we have declared called ptr with getch. Let me save this code as a 10.c. Oops, already there. 11.c. .c. Bingo. Let's compile. Now as you can see that there are no syntactical errors, so we can go for the second executable. We can go for the second stage, that is let's execute the code. Let me enter the value called 3. It prints that 3 onto the screen, but this 3 is printed using the pointer by storing this 3 into the memory instead of storing it into the local buffers. I have already informed you there is no difference while you are getting the output of the prescribed inputted value. Let me rerun the code. Suppose I am entering 1919. It gives the same value onto the screen, that is called as 19. Now let's see this particular program into the notepad for better visibility, because in this recorded session it shows a small screen. So C drive, turbo C, disk, bin and 15.c. let me open it into the notepad. Here it is. You can see the program. Just write down the definition of this particular program. Write a program to demonstrate the use of pointer. Again I am repeating my words. Write a program to demonstrate the use of pointer. Please note down this particular program for your journal. As you can see in this code, after writing the library function into the main executable statement, there is a pointer variable declaration by writing the statement called integer asterisk pointer, then the basic function called clr, then it will print a one message onto the screen using the printf statement, that is printf in double inverted comma enter your value scanf %d and %ptr, which reads and stores the user inputted value into the declared variable, and then the stored value will be printed using this printf statement, that is printf in double inverted comma your value is %d comma ptr. Last, there is a get ch and the closing bracket. What will be the output of this particular program? When you execute this code, there is a first message like this, enter your value. Here I have entered 3. Once you press enter, it gives an output like your value is 3. So this would be the output. You can change the value also. Say for example, here I am giving 19, then it prints 19. Here suppose I am giving 5, it returns 5 onto the screen. So this is the first program that we have done using the pointer. Let's expand this particular program for the further process. So let's go back into the C. Open that particular program called 15.c. This is the code. Now what I am doing is I am just changing the name of inputted variable, like integer pointer A, integer pointer B. This is the second variable, pointer variable that I have declared. Then enter your first value, which stores inside the variable called A. Then printf enter your second value, stores inside the variable called B by writing the statement called scanf %d and %b, and then simply here I am giving A plus B into the printf statement with the message addition of two value is, addition of two value is invalid pointer addition. Fine. Here we have to declare one more variable, integer pointer C, then C is equals to A plus B, and then we have to give C as a output variable. Put a pointer symbol, two, 3. Pointer C, 2, 3. Why it returns wrong? Let's write pointer C over here. 2 3. Let me check. Just a minute. Okay. P and Q here I have declared. Then sum is equals to pointer P plus Q. They all are correct. Okay. Got it. Let's try again. First, let me put this entire thing into the single line. Pointer A, pointer B, and with the value called first, second. That means total two local variables I have declared called first and second, and the two pointer variable called A and B. Then what I am doing is, instead of giving a pointer variable, here I am giving the variable called first, then the variable called second. Then I am writing first is equals to A is equals to and person first. That means the pointer called A points to the address of first value. The name is given called first. Then the second pointer value called B points to the address of second value. Then I am adding these two pointer variables and storing this into the third variable called sum. So let's write sum is equals to pointer A plus pointer B, fine, and then in this printf statement I am passing the variable called sum. Now let's check will it work or not. First value is 2, second value is 3. So 2 plus 3 is equals to 5 onto the screen. This program works perfectly. As you can see onto the screen, it's very difficult to just get the value from the stored location while we are using pointer. It is very simple into the previous programs. Let's see this code in Notepad for better visibility. This is the code. Total we required 1 2 3 4 5 variable declaration, where 3 are the local variable declaration like first, second and sum, and 2 are the pointer variable declaration. After CLR SCR statement, there is a message enter your first value, which stores inside the local variable called first. Then there is a message enter your second value, it stores inside the variable called second. Then pointer points to the first address of the value called first, and second pointer points to the value which is stored on second location. Then sum sum add all these two pointers, and then it will be printed using this label onto the screen that addition of two value is %d sum. It returns the addition of two numbers. So in this way we can have a use of pointer into the general programming language. Thank you very much students for listening me, and have a nice day. In next session we'll write some more advanced programs. Thank you so much.